Hey everyone, this is Rob over here at BuneBape and hope you're having an amazing day. So, of course, today is the day we've all been waiting for. The big patch was just announced, and there's going to be maintenance coming up tomorrow at 4 a.m. for me on PST, so make sure to check your local time. But this is great because I just made a video yesterday talking about how I think the update might be coming out today or the next, and luckily this time around I was right. I definitely thought they couldn't delay this too much longer, considering this event was something a lot of people had been looking forward to, and it is winter limited. So I definitely didn't think they were going to hold off until the new year to do this, and I'm glad they didn't. So in this video, I'm going to be going over everything you need to know in the upcoming update. And I have 10 of the bullet points just to show you all of the main stuff that you're going to need to know. There is a lot in this update, like a ton of stuff. So along with the patch notes down below, you can feel free to follow around at your own pace, read through it, check it out with your friends, do whatever you want to do. I'm also going to have timestamps down below if you want to jump around to each of the important things that I pulled from it, just so you know the most, biggest, juiciest bits so that you don't feel left out on any of the changes. So with that out of the way, let's get right into this update. All right, so here we are over at the Winter Convergence Festival update. So this is the big December update everyone has been waiting for. Like I said, there's going to be a ton of stuff I'm skipping over. If it seems like I'm going too fast, I'll try to go as slow as possible, be as concise as possible, but there is a lot to go over, so feel free to jump down and check out the notes, like I said, in the description. But first things first, of course, we're going to be talking about the Spotlight, which is going to be the new event. So the Winter Convergence Festival, this is going to be the first holiday event we've ever had. What's nice is it does go from December 16th all the way to January 11th. So this is great news, as initially it was December 14th all the way to January 1st. So this is great because although it is slightly delayed, they're giving us way more time than originally thought, so we can have more time with our families over the holidays and more time to play the game, so we can actually get all of the great luck gear as well as the furnishings and the new cosmetic set. So if anyone is interested in any of this, doesn't know what I'm talking about, make sure to head over to the channel. I have guides and videos totally dedicated to all of it. So beyond that, they are adding these new ice caves. So these are really cool. As you can see, this is what some of the enemies and some of the areas look like. Overall, I thought they looked really great in game. These are going to be here during the event. You can go check them out. The quests will lead you there, and they're going to be staying even after the event. So that's also pretty cool. Moving on to the next thing, of course, the big hitter for this update is going to be the expertise changes. For anyone that doesn't know, they are completely removing the high watermark system, and they're going to be adding the expertise system, which is kind of like high watermark 2.0 with a new name. So essentially, it's going to go through and show every single piece of gear, every single slot that you have. So head, chest, pants, all of them. And it's going to show the highest possible piece of gear you can get for that, and that's what expertise is called. For instance, if you have the ability to get 600 pieces on your helmet, then the expertise that it's going to show next to your helmet is going to be 600. So that's pretty cool overall. Big disclaimer in like mega big font. This is not going to be the patch where you have the chance to have your gear lose power or have a power reduction, whatever you want to call it. So in a future update, for anyone that doesn't know, if for instance your helmet is 600 and you just got it like today or something, and your expertise for that slot is actually 500, then that means in this future update, not this one, your power would be reduced from 600 to 500 because you haven't done the progression to get up to level 600 unlocked for that particular slot. So that's what's going to happen in the future, not this update. So you're still totally fine to keep farming with the gear you have on. Plus they did a grandfather system for this update, so you should be fine either way if you've been playing up to this point. But just so you know that you're not going to have the power reduction in this update. So going forward, they have the new system. This is going to be called the Gypsum System. This is going to be how you actually get guaranteed upgrades for your gear slots. So you are able to get 8 guaranteed upgrades for all of your gear per day. And this has an 18-hour cooldown, so you can hopefully easily fit it into your schedule, even if you are, busier. because they did reduce that, noticing a lot of people are trying to get this stuff done, but you know, real life happens. So hopefully they've been recognizing that and they're making it a little bit more lenient. So now every 18 hours, you can get 8 brand new upgrades for your gear. You know, there's 8 totally different ways, going from arenas, corrupted breaches, expeditions, and even crafting. So if you like to craft, then you have a chance to get, or you have a guaranteed chance to get an upgrade for one of your slots. So that's really great. And overall, I think this is a great change to the system. One thing to note though is because they are adding all these ways to get upgrades for your gear, overall they have reduced what your chance is to get expertise upgrades out in the open world. So they're saying that in elite zones, if you're doing elite farming, elite chest runs, corrupted breaches, your chance of getting an upgrade is much less than it was previously, and that's to counteract how many upgrades you're going to be getting now. So it's kind of a give and take, but overall I think the new system is much better. So speaking of crafting though, we can move on to the next part, which is going to be talking about timeless shards. So timeless shards is a new item that they're going to be bringing to the game. This is something that you can get from expedition bosses and a chance from elite chests and expeditions or other elite point of interest. So this is going to be a new item, and it's going to give you the ability to craft a much higher chance of crafting actually best in slot gear. So previously you had to, give a gamble roll on 3 things out of the 4 things on your gear. Now this is going to make it so that you're gambling on 2 things out of 4 things on your gear. So it's a much higher chance of getting what you're looking for. And there's new perks that you're going to be wanting on your gear. So this is overall a really cool change. You're going to want to get into expeditions as soon as possible. So hopefully you've been making your orbs. Also, moving on and talking about the points of interest, there are 2 new extra points of interest. They're actually changing quite a few areas. So they're making Malevolence and Eden Grove have level 66 content. Right now it is, I think, level only 50 or 61 rather, so it's much lower. Now they're bumping it up to 66, which has a much higher chance of getting you expertise bumps, and there's 6 elite chests that can provide more bumps. On top of that, they're making 2 new areas, the Imperial Palace and the North Dynasty Shrine. These are going to be level 66 content. These are brand new areas, or not brand new, but brand newly revamped areas rather, that are in Ebonscale Reach. So you can go over there. There's going to be 2 new areas you can farm, including 8 elite chests, all of course, which can grant you the new expertise bumps. So along with that, they're also changing corrupted breaches to be level 66 as well. Overall, this content is going to be much more difficult than it was previously, but this is good news because this gives us more areas to farm. For anyone that doesn't know, enemies that are level 66 do have a much higher chance of dropping upgrades for you than lower level enemies. So moving on to the world experience and new quests that they actually added to the game, they're adding a lot more quests, not just main story, but also supplemental territory quests. These are going to make your leveling experience not just smoother, but overall better. And this is something that I think is great. Obviously, I'm not going to experience them anytime soon, but it's great because I did think there was a significant lack of quests when I was leveling. So it's nice to see that new players are going to get a much better experience than I did overall. So this is honestly a pretty good change. So continuing on to the combat and AI section, this is not actually a lot going on here. There was some smoothing of movements, trying to make things a little bit more balanced as well for PvP. For instance, a little bit of combat scaling has been removed or changed, as well as the critical damage modifiers. So make sure, for all of you people that are relying on high critical damage, such as bows and muskets, make sure to check them out and make sure that's still what you want to go with after these changes. And like I said, they did smooth out some stuff with combat, including dodge and dodge animations. So also make sure to check that out once you do get in game. Along with that, there are a ton of perks you should be made aware of, including heal reduction perks, range damage reduction, as well as the addition of these new perks for heavy attack, making you deal much more damage on heavy attacks. We're talking about all the thwarting, trenchant, and physical aversion. So all of these are things you should be looking for on your new best in slot gear, as I do think these 3, mainly talking about the ones that reduce damage, so plagued crits, plagued strikes, or reduced healing rather, reduced damage for the two different aversions, as well as the trenchant strikes. All of these I think are going to have a huge change and impact on PvP and PvE in general. So make sure to actually check them out. Make sure there's something that you might want to look forward to crafting on your new best in slot gear, or hopefully your new gear that you get in expeditions. As far as any changes to weapons though, there wasn't really a lot to go off of here. There's some changes to rapier, fire staff, really just some fixes, some cleaning up of, text and stuff like that. I'm sure there is going to be a lot more stuff that matters to people for those particular classes. Like there were some changes to Path of Destiny. None of these were drastically huge in any way, not that I experienced. Although, let me know down below in the comments if any of these changes greatly impact your experience. Because, for instance, bow doesn't seem like a lot got changed here, but I'm not a bow user, so I can't really say. I can speak on stuff like the Ice Gauntlet, I know got a little bit of a buff. And the Great Axe, for everyone cheering already, did get a bit of a nerf. So that's going to be really nice, honestly, because wars were getting a little stale. Even though I am a Great Axe user, this might give me an opportunity to change that up, get a different weapon, maybe continue with the Great Axe and see if it's still good. But for now, let's move on. So also one of the biggest changes that I honestly never really saw coming when I was first talking about the PTR was the changes to trade skill aptitude. This is a new thing being presented for trade skills. So all you crafters out there, you went from getting the short end of the stick at the beginning to getting a pretty fair deal this time around. So not only are you going to have a chance to get expertise upgrades that are guaranteed from this, just from crafting after level 200, but also for crafting up to 200, you are going to get these new items. They're going to be called equipment patterns. These are items that can drop from the aptitude caches. So every time you level up and get a new cache, you have a chance of getting these equipment patterns. And equipment patterns are going to have guaranteed gear score 600 items that have a specific or unique appearance. So it's not only going to look cool, but it's also going to be 600. So it's a chance for it to be really good. Of course, there's also a chance for them to be bad. I'm not sure. I haven't experienced these in any of my crafting on the PTR or anything like that. But these have the potential to be really good gear. But it is going to cost a significant amount of powerful crafting reagents in order to actually make this. So make sure you've stockpiled or have a lot of money, because if you want the best of the best, it's definitely going to cost you a little bit as far as these equipment patterns go. Either way though, it does seem like a really interesting system. I'm glad they're adding more and more stuff, not just for people looking to do watermarking, or expertising, now I don't know what you would call it, but also crafting. One last thing that I did want to go over before we move on to the 10th and final note that I did want to let everyone know about is going to be refining. So this is something everyone should be taking advantage of. It says added refining recipes that let you refine 250 of any T5 raw ore, wood, fiber, or raw hide into one legendary material. And they have an example here. For instance, you can now convert 250 orichalcum ore into one tolvium. So you can also do this for cinnabar, and you can do this for pretty much anything in the game. And this is honestly great because I don't know about you, I've had thousands and thousands of either orichalcum ore, ironhide specifically, that I just end up dropping on the ground because it's worth pennies. So now it's nice that you actually get to turn that into tolvium. It's not only going to make tolvium a little bit easier to come by, but it's also going to add value to items such as orichalcum or that ironhide, so people might actually start buying it for a real amount of money. So on top of that, one last thing to go over is orichalcum ingots can now be crafted with platinum as well as star metals, so make sure to buy as much platinum as you can because it's going to be going up in price. Besides that though, there is one final thing I wanted to go over, maybe one of the nicer changes that it definitely snuck by past me. I don't know if this is something that they actually had in the changes on the PTR. I never noticed it or found it, but I actually skipped right over here because it's a single line and I didn't notice this on the PTR. Maybe this is something they snuck in, like I said, but they removed corrupted shards and lodestones as required ingredients to craft arena keys, and they added 5 runestones instead. So they did this to make it so that arena keys don't compete for the same resources as expedition keys. And overall, I think this is a great change. I mean, at the end of the day, I still think keys should be removed for expeditions. Maybe leave them for arenas. I don't know. I'm fine with that. I think they should be removed for expeditions, but this is nice. They're making it so that you don't have to farm for expedition keys and then farm again for arena keys and choose between which one you want. You can actually just do expedition keys and arena keys at the same time. So overall, I really like this patch. I'm really hoping it goes through well, is well received, and they have some more content for us soon, because this is some really great stuff. Obviously there's a lot here, but of course, as always, as an MMO player, there's never enough. So it would be nice to see some more content hinted at or leaked. I know that Scott Lane did have a fairly recent interview talking about how they were already talking about adding new stuff, including looking at your inventory while running, as well as new content. But it would nice to be see some of that actually materialized in some future blog posts or patch notes. But for now, this has satiated my hunger for new stuff. So I'm going to be getting in there, trying out some new stuff, getting into expeditions, and seeing how they go. So hopefully you all enjoyed this video, found it helpful. If you did, you know what to do. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel and the algorithm. So with that being said, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all very soon.